Shabbat Shalom, family. Our scripture reading for today is Exodus 6, 3, and 4. Yahweh was I not known to them, and I will establish my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land of their pilgrimage wherein they were strangers.
Shabbat Shalom, brothers and sisters. Our selection today, Bound for Canaan Land.
Where are you bound?
Bound for Canaan land.
Oh, you must not lie.
You must not steal. You must not take Yah's name in vain. I'm bound for Canaan land.
Your horse is white, your garments bright, you look like a man of war. Raise up your head with courage, bold, for your race is almost run.
Hallelujah. Where are you bound?
Bound for Canaan land.
Oh, you must not lie.
You must not steal. You must not take Yah's name in vain. I'm bound for Canaan land.
Although you see me going on, I'm bound for Canaan land. I have many trials down here below, but I'm bound for Canaan land.
Hallelujah. Where are you bound?
Bound for Canaan land.
Oh, you must not lie.
You must not steal. You must not take Yah's name in vain. I'm bound for Canaan land.
Your horse is white, your garments bright, you look like a man of war. Raise up your head with courage, bold, for your race is almost run.
Hallelujah. Where are you bound?
Bound for Canaan land.
Oh, you must not lie.
You must not steal. You must not take Yah's name in vain. I'm bound for Canaan land.
Although you see me going on, I'm bound for Canaan land. I have many trials down here below, but I'm bound for Canaan land.
Hallelujah. Where are you bound?
Bound for Canaan land.
Oh, you must not lie.
You must not steal. You must not take Yah's name in vain. I'm bound for Canaan land. Bound for Canaan land. Bound for Canaan land.
Praise God.
The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another, as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as their children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becomes saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you up on earth. Therefore, let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame, and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. And as we pay attention to some of the things that are happening, we have to understand that our faith has to be built up. But to build up anything, there's an exercising that must go on. As I've said previously, you can't just buying a gym membership don't get your muscles. You actually got to go in there and you actually got to pick up those weights. You actually got to tear the muscle down and allow it to be rebuilt bigger and stronger. But the important part is the tear down. You have to be about that action to be able to rebuild that and make it stronger. And we have to understand that about the test of faith that we are all going to go through on some level. And with the things that are happening, our faith is going to have to be built up. You know, we just going through the news, you know, you find too many peculiar instances of things taking place. You have on one side of town they found monkeypox in the sewage water. Another part, a brother sent something where in New York they found polio in the water. So you find all of these things happening, and we know that it's not coincidence. We know that too many things are taking place right here, back to back to back, and Yahweh is allowing these things because it's those things that are going to get the attention of his people. As long as we are doing all right, and we can get in the beginning of the book and prove that. You know, he says, you know, when I had fed you to the full, then you had rebelled against me. And you have to think about how far we have come since the situation of slavery and the vast amount of things that we have acquired up to this point. And now we are living like all of those things are in the past, and we don't have to worry about any of those things anymore. But we know that the things that we see are telling us otherwise. So we have to be ready for the great events that are coming toward us. So then Yahweh has to then give us some smaller events that will prepare us for the big events. The last thing we want to do is just wake up the day that Lucifer arrives and starts swinging. If that's when you come out of La La Land, you're about to have some serious trouble. You sure better be waking up before he gets here, as it is written. He comes down angry because he understands that he has but a short time. So whenever you know that the time is shortening, then here comes the more aggressive plays toward the end of the game. And we can see that this end game is not just him. This end game, it seems to be connected with Gentile rulership over the earth, because we see a lot of strange things happening after ignoring the environment for so many generations. Now they are trying some of the craziest things to try and fix what their greed for money allowed to happen. There was no respect for Yahweh's creation whatsoever. And now, after so many years of their rulership, the earth is in a really bad condition. I ended up watching a documentary where it was saying, we noticed that the wildfires had gotten just really out of hand, and they keep getting worse and worse every year. But then there are reports that they are intentionally making those wildfires that way so that they can create a cooling effect on the earth, trying to block the sun. That's what all the spray is about. And those things have aluminum in it. That stuff is toxic. So, we are all getting somewhat poisoned from their attempt to turn back the destruction that they have allowed to happen. So with that being said, there are some things that we have to spiritually prepare for. And we're going to begin today's sermon in Hebrews chapter 11. And we're going to start that at verse 1. And today's sermon is entitled The Test of Faith.
Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of Elohim, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear.
Right, and the first thing that some individuals are going to try to get you to do is question that, because they're going to say, well, you didn't see that happen. So, we question whether or not this is how that happened. And if you listen to those individuals long enough, this is the problem about listening to foolishness long enough. Sooner or later, the foolishness start making some sense to you. That's when you know you've been listening to foolishness too long. Because you start trying to imagine to yourself, now, this fool stuff is starting to make sense to me. Now that means they turning you into a fool. That's what's happening. You don't listen too long. Go ahead.
We got to consider from the onset there was always a push for us not to believe in Yahweh, to believe that there was a creator. Because when you think about what we learned in school about science and this evolution, that was so that Yahweh wouldn't get credit for what he created. We just spontaneously appeared, and men developed from monkeys, and I'm with Elder. I'm still waiting to see a monkey turn into a man.
Or a man turn back into a monkey.
Say once a man, twice a child, right? So we should reverse back to being a monkey.
You've seen somebody, you know how you see somebody you grew up with, you see them 20 years later, you ain't never seen them, and they just turned to a monkey. Like, man, I ain't seen you in a long time. Whoa! Oh man, wait a minute. That brother done turned to a monkey. You ain't seen that not damn time. Go ahead.
Verse 4. By faith Abel offered unto Elohim a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, by which he obtained witness that he was righteous, Elohim testifying of his gifts. And by it, he being dead yet speaks.
So his gift spoke for him. His gift spoke of his faith. So, as it is written, show me your faith without your works, and I will show you my faith by my works. See, we can't just show faith by all of the things that the niceties that come out of our mouths. When we have all these cute little sayings. That don't prove no faith. Maybe that's helping you build yours. Well, you might as well get the building, because when situation and circumstance show up at your door, you're going to need all that. Go ahead.
By faith, Enoch was translated that he should not see death, and was not found, because Elohim had translated him. For before his translation he had this testimony, that he pleased Elohim. But without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that comes to Elohim must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. By faith, Noah, being warned of Elohim of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by the which he condemned the world, and became heir of the righteousness which is by faith. By faith, Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed, and he went out, not knowing whither he went.
And it takes faith to go to a place that you don't know where you are going. We have all this opportunity where we can research everything before we move. That wasn't possible. Go ahead.
By faith he sojourned in the land of promise, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Esaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he looked for a city which has foundation, whose builder and maker is Elohim. Through faith also Sarah herself received strength to conceive seed, and was delivered of a child when she was past age, because she judged him faithful who had promised. Therefore sprang there even of one, and him as good as dead, so many as the stars of the sky in multitude, and as the sand which is by the seashore innumerable. These all died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, and were persuaded of them, and embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth. For they that say such things declare plainly that they seek a country. And truly, if they had been mindful of that country from whence they came out, they might have had opportunity to have returned.
Right. And what some of our people want to do is jump the gun, and they want to say, okay, well, our people are Israelites. We're gonna go back to Israel, but they're gonna do it themselves. And they don't understand. Even in the cover of what's happening with Russia and Ukraine, you are finding some turmoil is building up right in Israel. See, when everybody not watching, this is when all kinds of foul things go on, when everybody's attention is grabbed by something else. And I don't think our people are even considering, when they try to make this trip, what you gonna do when there are no more eyes watching everything that happens in Israel. You are about to see the greatest racism that you've ever seen in your life. When you have a people pushing an agenda of a country when they are not the original people of that promise, they then use the word as their way of producing racism. So then they call it one thing when it happens to them, but they have a whole nother set of terminology when they do it to somebody else. See, it's anti-Semitism when it happens to them, and it's that only refers to them. So you can still be racist, you can be all of that, long as you're not anti-Semitic. Then they don't care. Racist means nothing. They only care about whether or not you have anything toward them. And when the whole world is watching their own backyard and they stop watching what's happening there, the last place you want to be is in that place when they get ready to kick up the height of their racial agenda. Because point blank, they don't want anybody but white Jews in Israel. And you can't get any more clear than the policies that they've put out. They said if the country goes above 30% anything else, it is no longer Israel. It has lost its identity. So everybody come there getting thrown into a concentration camp. Why you think they sending some of them Hebrews back home now? I don't think we paying attention, but we still trying to buy a ticket. Go ahead.
Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 16. But now they desire a better country, that is, an heavenly. Wherefore Elohim is not ashamed to be called their El, for he has prepared for them a city.
Right. And is it heavenly just because it's the place that is called by his name? It is heavenly when his spirit is there. See, his word says when you execute judgment, when all of these things happen, then the city shall be holy. There's a whole lot of things that's got to be removed before that can be literally the holy city. It's got holy coordinates. It's got a holy address. That don't make it a holy city. All that stuff got to come out of that. Therein lies your job. You didn't think he was just going to skate through this, right? You didn't think he was just going to, clean up the place and just give it to you. No. It was your folks that messed it up. So what you think your job is? Go ahead.
By faith Abraham, when he was tried, offered up Esau, and he that had received the promises offered up his only begotten son, of whom it was said that in Esau shall your seed be called.
And Yahweh is not a hypocrite. He knew he was going to offer up his son. So he had to, as the beginning of the faith, to do the same thing. He said, you are my earthly representation here. You, Father Abraham, you represent me right now. So I'm going to need you to do what I got to do. But what happened when you don't understand that? Do you fight against everything that he's trying to do because you don't understand it yet? Understand, he ain't got no book when this is happening. This probably seemed like the most unfair thing ever. How you going to promise me a child and then turn around and ask me to get a child up? Because you me. See, in the script, you me. See, I wrote a part for you. I wrote a part for you. See, read these your lines. Right here. See? So you got to offer up the child, because see, that's what I'm gonna do. See, I've enacted a play about my plight. And you the star right now. And as my elder used to say, you better damn well get an Oscar. Go ahead, bro.
Accounting that Elohim was able to raise him up, even from the dead, from whence also he received him in a figure. By faith Esaac blessed Jacob and Esau concerning things to come. By faith Jacob, when he was a dying, blessed both the sons of Joseph, and worshiped, leaning upon the top of his staff. By faith Joseph, when he died, made mention of the departing of the children of Israel, and gave commandment concerning his bones. By faith Moshe, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents, because they saw he was a proper child, and they were not afraid of the king's commandment. By faith Moshe, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of Elohim than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season.
And will we do that? Will we do that? If we have an opportunity to sit in a palace, will we sit in the palace? Or we'll go over there where our people are being afflicted at? See? You look over there, they got air conditioning. Over here, y'all got fans. You know it's something when you look, you ain't got to go over there to know they ain't got no air conditioning. All you got to do is do this. When you see 200 people doing it right here.
You know, they ain't got no central air over there because there's too many fans. I understand 1, 2, 3 maybe hot, but that's 400 people fanning all at the same time. There's no air over there.
Hey, at Pharaoh's house, he had a man fan. A man fan is a man in front of you. Oh, now that's a different kind of horsepower right there. And see, when we want the good fans, we go in there, we get, you know what, let me get one that oscillates. Moshe had an oscillating fan. Wherever hell he moved, that dude moved. It was oscillating. When he moved, it oscillated. Oh, you turning? You turning? Hey, didn't you see me move? That's the best fan ever. I keep looking for one in Target. They don't move when I move. It has a regular oscillating pattern. But damn it don't follow me. When I go in the kitchen, the fan didn't go in the kitchen. He had a fan that moved. Everywhere he went, the fan. He went to the bathroom, the fan just waited outside waiting for him, still ready. Just so he'll be cool when he come out. But he still chose to suffer with his people. See, there's certain sacrifices that we don't even count. We don't even count that. We think about all the things that he went through dealing with the children of Israel, but we don't even count that one. This is some of his biggest sacrifices, and this is before the game starts. We don't know what all Moshe had. You remember that? What was that? The scene in Coming to America, he had the royal bathers. Mm-hmm. Man, we don't know what he had in there. Thou art clean, sire. Thank you. We don't know what he had in there. And he walked away from all that to deal with a bunch of knuckleheads who blamed him for everything that happened to them. Every time they didn't get what they want, it's his fault. Every time they got ready to do something that Yahweh wouldn't allow them, it was his fault. But he walked away from luxury. Pure luxury. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 26. Esteeming the reproach of the Mashiach greater riches than the treasures in Egypt, for he had respect unto the recompense of the reward. By faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured, as seeing him who is invisible. Through faith he kept the Passover and the sprinkling of blood. Lest he that destroyed the firstborn should touch them. By faith they passed through the Red Sea as by dry land, which the Egyptians essaying to do were drowned. By faith the walls of Jericho fell down, after they were compassed about 7 days. By faith the harlot Rahab perished not with them that believed not, when she had received the spies with peace.
Right, and you're talking about a work. See, this is where the area with Yahweh gets gray. Because Rahab's previous life was not noteworthy. And I mean, you know, it's kind of bad that even here in the New Testament, generations later, she's still known as the harlot. She couldn't continue to be a harlot once they brought her out now. That was her previous life. But here, the infamy of her previous life is actually a testament of Yahweh's mercy. But how would you like to be known by? Think about some of the most dastardly deeds that you have committed. A man, just put one of them behind your name. Oh, you had too much to drink one night. You done tinkled on yourself.
So then they say, oh yeah, here come Esaac the tinkler.
What? Now, 20 generations later, they still talking about
Esaac the tinkler.
hell no. No, man, I don't want that. Even after her life has changed, she's still known by these things. But it also lets you know the great mercy that Yahweh has if you do the things that are pleasing unto him. So then you got to look at what came out of this town. What received its salvation out of the town? The town harlot. Oh, that's a testament of Yahweh's grace and mercy. Think about how many people in this town think that they're better than the town harlot.
You talking about the woman about town? Huh? She done been with everybody.
Yep. Now she with Yahweh. Run, go tell that. Go ahead, bro.
And what shall I more say? For the time would fail me to tell of Gideon, and of Barak, and of Samson, and of Jephthah, of David also, and Samuel, and of the prophets, who through faith subdued kingdoms, wrought righteousness, obtained promises, stopped the mouths of lions, quenched the violence of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, out of weakness were made strong, waxed valiant in fight, turned to flight the armies of the aliens. Women received their dead raised to life again, and others were tortured, not accepting deliverance.
And we know that the Apocrypha is full of those situations where individuals were tortured because they would not accept the lifestyle of the heathen. Go ahead.
That they might obtain a better resurrection. And others had trial of cruel mockings and scourgings, yes, moreover of bonds and imprisonment. They were stoned, they were sawn asunder, were tempted, were slain with the sword. They wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins, being destitute, afflicted, tormented, of whom the world was not worthy. They wandered in deserts, and in mountains, and in dens and caves of the earth. And these all, having obtained a good report through faith, received not the promise. Elohim having provided some better thing for us, that they without us should not be made perfect.
All right, let's go to Matthew chapter 9. Matthew chapter 9, and we're going to read verses 18 through 34. Matthew chapter 9 and verses 18 through 34.
Verse 18. While he spake these things unto them, behold, there came a certain ruler, and worshipped him, saying, My daughter is even now dead, but come and lay your hand upon her, and she shall live. And Yahshua arose and followed him, and so did his disciples.
It said, while he spake these things unto them, behold, there came a certain ruler and worship, saying, My daughter is even now dead. Now, if they're dealing, especially how the Pharisees operate, well, you know, she dead. I can't touch no dead body. So if you deal with this by the law, then he already can't move. Go ahead.
And behold, a woman which was diseased with an issue of blood 12 years came behind him and touched the hem of his garment. For she said within herself, If I may but touch his garment, I shall be whole. But Yahshua turned him about, and when he saw her, he said, Daughter, be of good comfort, your faith has made you whole. And the woman was made whole from that hour.
Right. You remember the part where it says, who touched me? Who touched me? Now, she had right to be afraid, because had that been one of the Pharisees, they would have probably beat her down. You touch me? You touch me, you unclean, you done made me unclean, you touch me? No, he said, I just perceived that virtue has left from me. I ain't trying to beat you up. I'm just trying to figure out who touched me. But depending on where the person stands in the law, who touched me can turn into something altogether different. Go ahead.
And when Yahshua came into the ruler's house and saw the minstrels and the people making a noise, he said unto them, Give place, for the maid is not dead, but sleeps. And they laughed him to scorn. But when the people were put forth, he went in and took her by the hand, and the maid arose.
But when the people were put forth, so at a point where there's a question of belief, you might have to separate yourself from those individuals, because the lack of belief in the circle that you are in may hinder the blessing that's coming to you. But them our friends, and we like them, so we hang around with them. And they killing you spiritually. And we must like being dead. Because we'll go right back around the same dead people. And can't figure out. I feel different when I'm around. Oh, really? You think? Go ahead.
And the fame hereof went abroad into all that land. And when Yahshua departed thence, 2 blind men followed him, crying and saying, You son of David, have mercy on us. And when he was come into the house, the blind men came to him. And Yahshua says unto them, Believe you that I'm able to do this?
Which is one of the biggest questions ever. Do you believe that I'm able to do this? It says he didn't do many works in Cana of Galilee because they didn't believe. Because of their unbelief. And they couldn't believe on him because they said, no, we know this dude, man. Man, the dude been here all this time. He ain't been doing no great work like that. I mean, he did a little something. But I mean, you know, he just, no, man, we know him. We're not going to accept this from somebody we know. Which is why some of us will always have issues with our family.
It's like, I ain't going to, you know, saying, respect you as no holy man. You same dude down there that used to sneak in Keisha Johnson's house. Right there, I used to come down there and see your feet hanging out the window. When you come out there, ain't no way you going to sit here and tell me all of a sudden, now you holy. I'm not trying to hear it. I ain't trying to hear it. I remember when you stole that Alpine out of JC car. I remember that. I came down there and listened to it with you.
Now, once they know you, there's a limit right there. They hit a brick wall. No. I know you. As my elder would say, familiarity breeds contempt. The more somebody feels familiar with you, the more contempt they have for you. But then I have respect for somebody sitting beside you who has done half the things you done. Go ahead, bro.
They said unto him, Yes, Adonai. Then touched he their eyes, saying, According to your faith be it unto you. And their eyes were open, and Yahshua straightly charged them, saying, See that no man knows it. But they, when they were departed, spread abroad his fame in all that country.
I mean, you know, how you gonna blame the blind dude, you know? I mean, man, we couldn't see. Now you gonna turn around and, bless us. That's how you know we gonna tell. When you say, look, don't tell nobody. That to us means
tell everybody you run into.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have told nobody until he said don't tell nobody. He said, I wasn't even gonna tell nobody, but then he said don't tell nobody, and I had to tell somebody.
Right. He pretty much just put a stamp on it when he said don't tell. He put a stamp on that. But when you have a blessing of that magnitude, everybody know you couldn't see before. And all of a sudden you walking and moving about all on your own. Everybody want to hear that story. Hey, what happened to you?
I ain't supposed to say nothing. Okay, but I'm going to tell you anyhow.
Yeah, done deal. Go ahead, brother.
As they went out, behold, they brought to him a dumb man possessed with a devil. And when the devil was cast out, the dumb spake, and the multitudes marveled, saying, It was never so seen in Israel.
Right. So they are pushing, once they see some of these things, the people are going to agitate you. They're going to keep asking you over and over. Go ahead.
But the Pharisees said, He cast out devils through the prince of the devils.
And you have to be ready for this as well. No matter what it is that is done, those who have made themselves in opposition with Yahweh are going to see that the way that they want to see it. That is their perception, and nothing is going to change it. Because if they change their perception, then they change their power. See, Yahshua is coming with a greater level of power than what this group has. They don't have any reason. It is not in their best interest to recognize him because it causes their group to diminish. Now, there comes a point and a time where our faith shall be tested. Every man gets an opportunity to speak and profess his stand concerning certain issues of life. Then life brings upon you those certain situations, and a man has to prove the previous stand that he has taken. It didn't occur to me until I was talking to a brother how Yahweh brought that to my face. From the beginning, we spoke concerning the newly created shots and how we would not take them. Then the sickness was brought directly to me, and several times a day, even while strapped to the side of a hospital bed, I had to fight people and their innuendos and about how they believe I should take the jab. My doctor disrespected me so bad because I wouldn't take the jab that I had to switch doctors. Other doctors in the same building told me, and I quote, "I'm glad that you are not my patient." Keep in mind, this is all while my life is on the line. This is when all of this comes to you. A lot of times we do all of that and we do all of the talking while we standing in our power. That ain't where the test of your faith come. The test of your faith come when all your power leave and then all that stuff comes to aggressively come toward you. So I'm chained to the side of a bed as a nurse steps out of my swinging distance and says everything that she can possibly say to upset me, knowing that I can't get to her. I had a nurse get verbally abusive about me getting the jab that she claims science had proven was safe. Jake don't know what science has proven. Jake just repeating what somebody else said. These attacks gave me an opportunity to prove all those things that I had previously stated. Everyone has faith when the sickness has not made it to their house yet. When it makes it to your address, then comes your opportunity to prove that what you have previously spoken. Let's go to Matthew chapter 6. And it wasn't until I was talking to a brother and the brother said, "Oh no, I remember all those things that you said. You wasn't going to do this, you wasn't going to do that." And then it came to your door. See, there's certain situations, you got to think about what happened in this book. Yahweh didn't give Abraham a book to read. He was the book, so he had to live it. There's certain situations that you can talk all you want. He gonna bring some of those situations to your door. Just like we talk about how Samuel heard. Samuel, he's like, "Surely, Eli, you called me." "I ain't call you." There's gonna be a knock at your door. And you're gonna go to that door and you don't see nobody. "Oh, somebody there." "Oh, it's time." When an angel show up with a piece of paper and a number 2 pencil, "Oh, this your test." Go ahead, bro.
You know, brother, the roughest part of the journey is right before the finish line, right before the breakthrough. But we don't realize it, and a lot of people give up right there because it gets rough. If you watch track and field, when does the runner pump the hardest? When does he put forth the most effort? Right before the finish line. And we're working in certain instances, you get to see these things and laugh at it. Our son and I are working recently and we're drilling through some walls, through some boards. And every time we were coming to the end, the drill bit would just get hard and the drill is about to burn up. The smoke's coming and it's just in the frustration setting in. And the first time it happened and we went on through and finally broke through, I said, you know what? This is life's lessons. Right before that breakthrough, it's the roughest. We just got to endure.
Yeah, brother. It's some things, man. And if our Elohim truly loves us, then he gives us situations to prepare us for the future fight coming toward us. You know, you know, you can tell, man, when, you know, a fighter had been out, you know, partying and he wasn't prepared for this fight. And after round 2, he huffing and puffing like he done ran, 50 miles, and he ain't been in there but about 8 minutes. And I mean, he is huffing and puffing. Hey man, you ain't prepared for what is happening to you. And if Yahweh loves us, the last thing he want to do is allow us to be confronted with the adversary, the devil, and you ain't even ready for what's about to come to you. Everybody else out training and you eating, strawberries and powdered sugar. With your man fan. Understand? Them strawberries, that sugar, and that man fan ain't gonna be on the battlefield. Go ahead, brother.
Matthew chapter 6 and verse 1. Take heed that you do not your arms before men, not to be seen of them. Otherwise you have no reward of your Father which is in heaven. Therefore, when you do with your arms, do not sound a trumpet before you, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may have glory of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But when you does alms, let not your left hand know what your right hand does, that your alms may be in secret, and your Father which sees in secret himself shall reward you openly. And when you prayeth, you should not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and in the corners of the streets, that they may be seen of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But you, when you prayeth, enter into your closet, and when you have shut your door, pray to your Father which is in secret, and your Father which sees in secret shall reward you openly. But when you pray, use not vain repetitions as the heathen do, for they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking. Be not you therefore like unto them, for your Father knows what things you have need of before you ask him.
All right, jump to verse 16.
Moreover, when you fast, be not as the hypocrites, of a sad countenance, for they disfigure their faces, that they may appear unto men to fast. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward.
Right. The only person that know you supposed to be that you fasting is you. People supposed to figure that out when you refuse food. If they can see physically that you fasting, that's a problem. Go ahead.
But you, when you fasteth, anoint your head and wash your face, that you may appear not unto men to fast, but unto your Father which is in secret, and your Father which sees in secret shall reward you openly.
All right. So now this brings about a question. There was a question that was asked, and that question was about faith, and I thought it was rather interesting, which is why I didn't get into it into Bible study, because the question was, if you are talking about something, and although you have prayed about it, does that mean that you have a lack of faith because that thing still comes out of your mouth? And I thought it was a very, very interesting question. So let's go to Ezekiel chapter 9. Especially, in the backdrop of the things that we read. Okay, if you pray, you do that in secret. Your alms, you do that in secret. You fast, no one is supposed to know that you're fasting. So, does speaking of something say that you have a lack of faith when it comes to that particular thing? It's a very interesting question. So let's get off into some things on that. Ezekiel chapter 9, and let's read verses 1 through 11.
He cried also in mine ears with a loud voice, saying, Cause them that have charge over the city to draw near, even every man with his destroying weapon in his hand. And, behold, 6 men came from the way of the higher gate, which lies toward the north, and every man a slaughter weapon in his hand. And one man among them was clothed with linen, with a writer's inkhorn by his side. And they went in and stood beside the brazen altar. And the glory of Elohim of Israel was gone up from the cherub, whereupon he was, to the threshold of the house. And he called to the man clothed with linen, which had the writer's inkhorn by his side. And Yahweh said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of them that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And to the others he said in mine hearing, Go you after him through the city, and smite. Let not your eye spare, neither have you pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house.
All right, verse 4. And Yahweh said, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. So did they not have faith because they were talking about the things? Should they have just had faith that Yahweh was going to deal with it? Did their mere mentioning of the abominations being done speak to their lack of faith? Yahweh didn't see it that way. Go ahead.
And he said unto them, Defile the house, and fill the courts with the slain. Go you forth. And they went forth, and slew in the city. And it came to pass, while they were slaying them, and I was left, that I fell upon my face, and cried, and said, Ah, Adonai Elohim, will you destroy all the residue of Israel in your pouring out of your fury upon Jerusalem? Then said he unto me, The lawlessness of the house of Israel and Yehudah is exceeding great, and the land is full of blood, and the city full of perverseness. For they say, Yahweh has forsaken the earth, and Yahweh sees not. And as for me also, mine eyes shall not spare, neither shall I have pity, but I will recompense their way upon their head. And, behold, the man clothed with linen, which had the inkhorn by his side, reported the matter, saying, I have done as you have commanded me.
Right. Now, see, we have serious respect of persons when it comes down to something like this. You got to understand, he's saying, verse 6, slay utterly old, young, both maids, little children, and women. Now, that's some of us. Let it be some big ugly dude, and we ready to fight. Let it be some pretty woman.
Wait a minute, I don't want to harm her.
Wait a minute, she the most evil one in the group. Look at all the evil that she done. But your knees done got weak now. Oh, you don't want to slay when it come to her. Oh, but you'll kill the big ugly dude over here. Oh, you're a soft soldier. What the hell we gonna do with you? So you know when you got them kind, now stay over here. Why? Because ain't nothing but men over here, because we know you're not gonna kill none of the women. Stay over here. Don't you come, you stay on the right. Ain't nothing but men. Put all the ugly dudes over there. He gonna kill them. But the first pretty girl he see, his sword gonna fall out of his hand. He ain't gonna be worth nothing. Now, so you know, see, this is how you learn people by working with them, so that when it comes to the battle, you know where to place them on the battlefield. You look out, you see some, you go over that side. Why you put him over there? You'll find out in a minute. Because if he over here, ain't nobody dying. He not killing nothing over here, because everything over here look too nice. He not doing that. He said kill everything. He didn't say, you know what?
Kill all the ugly people.
Did anybody read that? Because I didn't read nothing about ugly. See, we have had certain problems where we be like, yeah, Yahweh, I killed all, all the stuff, but the good stuff we kept so we can give to you. What was my instructions to you? I said kill everything that breathes. Is that thing breathing? Then you didn't follow your instruction. So then we have to help one another do right. You know that a brother or sister has certain weaknesses. You then have to help orchestrate those things around those weaknesses. You know a brother got a drinking problem. You don't ask him to guard the bar. He is not the person who's going to guard the bar. He the last dude I'm putting by the bar. He's got a drinking problem. He's not going to be by the bar. I'm going to put him somewhere else. Why? Because I want to give him an opportunity to succeed. If I put him by the bar, I'm giving him an opportunity to kill himself. Which is, when a brother getting tested, that's where Yahweh gonna put you. Hey, Yahshua knew that Yehudas was a thief. What'd he do? Hey, hold the money. Gave him every opportunity to kill himself. Won't you hold the money? He put the money in the hand of a thief. Be very careful. Because sometimes your job or the situation he put you in may be your test. See, you got to learn certain things about family. You know, this family member has a serious sweet tooth. Don't put them in charge of the snacks. Don't put them in charge of the snacks. We get there, we ain't got no snacks. What the hell all the snacks is? Who got the snacks? And you got one person over there. Damn. Snackums done got all the snacks. See, you got to know better than that. You got to operate better than that. Brother, did you have something that you would think?
When you were talking about not killing the women and kids, they actually did that in Vietnam. Where they would strap kids, women with grenades, and the men didn't want to shoot them until after some of them started getting blowed up.
Exactly.
It was, okay.
Right.
Now we killing everybody.
Right. That has a way of changing your perspective. Once you see a few of your friends' arms fly by you, I heard how they would pull up in the with the baby carriage, and kill several people because you hesitating because the baby carriage is coming, but it's got explosives in it. Yep, that definitely changed some perspectives, and Yahweh is giving us instructions on things. See, it's not just this thing where we want to just go to Israel. You got to understand, we got a job. There's some things that have to be cleansed. You're not just finna go off. This ain't finna be no vacation. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 62. Isaiah 62, and we're going to read verses 1 through 12.
For Zion's sake will I not hold my peace, and for Jerusalem's sake I will not rest, until the righteousness thereof go forth as brightness, and the salvation thereof as a lamp that burns. And the Gentiles shall see your righteousness, and all kings your glory.
Right. That you know how much is going to have to happen for the Gentiles to see our righteousness? Everything has been created to present us in a certain light. The way the news is done. Once even your little news apps, once you click on one or two, it starts funneling all of this certain stuff towards you. And you don't find out what's happening in other cities and things like that. So even if it make the news, and a lot of times it's not going to make the news unless it's us. You go down and just scroll down the news app, and it's a picture of every last one of us getting arrested. Then you'll get to a story where some just sick, twisted thing happened, and then there's a file photo. That's when you know it wasn't one of us that did it. When it say file photo and it's just like the picture of a building. Wait a minute, it said 19 people were killed. You didn't show the killer? You just showed the building? Yeah, that means the killer wasn't us. Because if it was us, It would have been a full 8x10 photo of us in that situation. But what is that doing? That is helping the nations develop a thought process about us. All of this is purposely being done. So for us to get to the point where the Gentiles will see our righteousness, Yahweh is going to have to do a whole lot of things to reverse the negative media attention that we have gotten throughout generations. And it's not just happening here. The same thing happens in South America and in other places of the world. Things that we do are put forth on Front Street and put on blast. Other nationalities do it, and you don't see it on the news, you don't hear about it. You got to be reading an article to find out. That somehow don't make the news. That means they're programming the people what to think about us. So Yahweh gonna do a little deprogramming and reprogramming. But a lot of stuff gonna have to happen for that. Go ahead, brother. Did you have something?
Just real quick, I remember the first time I ever got locked up. I was like, dang, there's a lot of white boys in here, man. And I was like, and the one white dude was like, yeah, I got into a fight with the cop, and I'm like, and that wasn't on the news. But let that have been me. It'd have been plastered.
You got that right. Get in the fight with the police, and you still walking around in the jail.
Yes.
Yeah. Not only that, man. Hey, man, we don't watch some situations where the white dudes can cuss the police out. They can do all of those stuff, and the police, be talking. Calm down now. Calm down. You eating concrete. You are eating concrete, Jack. I mean, they cuss them out. They do all of that. And we saw, the graphic that we put up, weeks ago, where the Gentile killers somehow are safely brought into custody with a smoking gun in their hand. Yet are they still brought safely into custody? There's a totally different set of standards, and it is being promoted. So Yahweh gonna unpromote it. Go ahead.
And you shall be called by a new name, which the mouth of Yahweh shall name.
Mm-hmm.
You shall also be a crown of glory in the hand of Yahweh, and a royal diadem in the hand of your Elohim.
Right. But see, you got other people that are trying to be that now. This is why people say, well, you see, the people, the Israelis, this. Wait a minute. According to my book, that ain't supposed to even be happening now. So somebody lying. Go ahead.
You got to think of the thought process of the Israelis in their training. They use this thing called Krav Maga, which is completely deadly.
Mm-hmm.
But then you think about the training, and they go, it's because they say they live in a place where everybody is the enemy except for them.
Right.
Okay? Now, think about the police officers that are here that go over there to get training from them.
Boy.
What's the mindset that's being set in them?
Right. And not only that, it's also a completely racist agenda that they're learning.
Mm-hmm.
Because you look at the Israeli officer and you look at the Palestinians, these people got tint to their skin. So it is a completely racist agenda. Every time you see someone with a tint to their skin, you get to be more harsh towards them. Then you bring that officer back here. Of course, he is following his training. Go ahead.
You shall no more be termed forsaken, neither shall your land any more be termed desolate, but you shall be called Hezbah, and your land Beulah, for Yahweh delights in you, and your land shall be married. For as a young man marries a virgin, so shall your sons marry you, and as the bridegroom rejoice over the bride, so shall your Elohim rejoice over you. I have set watchmen upon your walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace day nor night.
Mm-hmm.
You that make mention of Yahweh, keep not silence.
I have set watchmen upon your walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace, day nor night. You that make mention of Yahweh, keep not silence. Does this mean that they have a lack of faith? Go ahead.
And give him no rest till he until he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth. Yahweh hath sworn by his right hand and by the arm of his strength. Surely I will no more give your corn to be meat for your enemies, and the sons of the stranger shall not drink your wine, for the which you have labored. But they that have gathered it shall eat it, and praise Yahweh. And they that have brought it together shall drink it in the courts of my holiness. Go through the gates, prepare you the way of the people, cast up the highway, gather out the stones, lift up a standard for the people. Behold, Yahweh has proclaimed unto the end of the world. Say you to the daughter of Zion, behold, your salvation comes. Behold, his reward is with him, and his work before him. And they shall call them the holy people, the redeemed of Yahweh, and you shall be called, sought out, a city not forsaken.
And they shall call them the holy people. Do you understand how much has to happen before that is going to take place? We're going to have faith just to make it to this point. See, we want to get to this ending thing, but understand that there's a path to get to that. This stuff is just not going to magically appear. Let's go to Malachi chapter 3.
982.
All right, appreciate it. Malachi chapter 3, and we're going to start that at verse 6.
For I am Yahweh, I change not. Therefore you sons of Jacob are not consumed.
Right. If Yahweh doesn't change, then we can get the basis of how he deals in the Old Testament. And if you are not getting that base part, then if you just starting in the middle of this book, then you don't really understand what's happening here. Go ahead.
Even from the days of your fathers you are gone away from mine ordinances, and have not kept them. Return unto me, and I'll return unto you.
So how you return unto Yahweh is return unto the ordinances. Not all of that, all praises to the Most High. Oh, Abba Father. Oh, glory this, glory that. Man, that don't mean nothing to him. He got beasts that sit on by the throne that say holy, holy, holy all day. Damn it, he don't need you to do that. You wasting your time. You can put as many sayings as you want. He said returning unto me means returning unto these ordinances. And if you ain't returning unto that, then all you offering is lip service. He is not impressed. Go ahead.
Saith Yahweh of hosts. But you said, wherein shall we return? Will a man rob Elohim? Yet you have robbed me. But you say, wherein have we robbed you? In tithes and offerings. You are cursed with a curse, for you have robbed me, even this whole nation.
And there's certain things, we have our own perception on how we look at it. At some point you should stop and wonder, what is Yahweh's perception of what I'm doing or where I'm standing? Because you know what yours is. Yours is the easiest one to figure out. Figure his out. And to do that, you got to come out your own comfort zone. You got to go and study some things. You got to read some things to get to where his perspective is. You might have to read 5, 6, 7 different stories that relate in different ways so you can get what may be his perspective. And then you pray, then he might show you the part that you can't read. But you can't just sit there and, he going to deliver it all to me. He going to bring it to me. Go ahead.
Bring you all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house. And prove me now herewith, says Yahweh of hosts, if I'll not open you the windows of heaven, and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. And I'll rebuke the devourer for your sakes, and he shall not destroy the fruits of your ground, neither shall your vine cast her fruit before the time in the field, says Yahweh of hosts. And all nations shall call you blessed, for you shall be a delightsome land, says Yahweh of hosts. Your words have been stout against me, says Yahweh, yet you say, what have we spoken so much against you? You have said, it is in vain to serve Elohim. And what profit is it that we have kept his ordinances, and that we have walked mournfully before Yahweh of hosts? And now we call the proud happy. Yes, they that work wickedness are set up. Yea, they that tempt Elohim are even delivered. Then they that feared Yahweh spake often one to another.
Then they that feared Yahweh spake often one to another. Go ahead.
And Yahweh hearkened and heard it.
Yahweh hearkened and heard it. What are you talking about? Go ahead.
And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared Yahweh and that thought upon his name. And they shall be mine, says Yahweh of hosts, in that day when I make up my jewels, and I'll spare them, as a man spares his own son that serves him. Then shall you return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serves Elohim and him that serves him not.
All right. Let's go to our Romans chapter 10. See, every time we turn around, there's a new pandemic popping up. Before the last one can finish, a new one is starting. Lucifer is moving and Yahweh is too. See how the nations spy on each other with their satellites. They start seeing certain movements. They know that certain countries are working on their nuclear program. They sitting up in the sky looking at all the trucks that keep coming in and what they keep building on and adding to their nuclear facilities. So then there's pre-war logistics because you see the movement. But then we have to be getting ourselves prepared spiritually because we know the war is coming. Go ahead.
You know what I find interesting is with all these pop-up of stuff that they're finding, there's still this great push for vaccination.
That seems to be the only push. That everything you turn around is this. Keep getting, more and more shots. And people haven't even thought out this last thing that just made everybody sick. There ain't no vaccine for the last variant that came out. And by the time they get one, it's going to be another variant. So you always going to be behind the next wave. And what happens as all these different things are starting to combine in your body? What's going to happen? I'm waiting for the first knuckle to turn into a vampire. I'm waiting for the first knuckle to turn into a zombie. Boy, the game is on. Ping, 200. Ping, 200. But I'm counting my points. Yeah, you better not move too funny in front of me. But wait a minute, brother. Ain't you done had them? Yeah. You done had that medicine, ain't you? Go ahead, brother.
Romans chapter 10 and verse 1. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to Elohim for Israel is that they might be saved. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of Elohim, but not according to knowledge.
Right. This is our people in general, in large, that we have a zeal for God. People who don't understand anything. There's a whole lot of Christian people who truly are there for the love of God. They don't really understand what it is they're doing. But you'd be surprised how many of them, because of this word being pushed and their pastors having to acknowledge some things, how many people know about Yahweh and Yahshua who didn't know anything about Yahweh and Yahshua 10 years ago? They wouldn't even if they knew it, they wouldn't acknowledge it. Now they are. Go ahead.
For they being ignorant of Elohim's righteousness and going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of Elohim.
Right. So it doesn't matter what the book says and what the instruction says about righteousness. The book can say, let a woman learn in silence. They say,
well, I think a woman can be a pastor. I think that was just Paul. And I don't, that's why we don't really like Paul. We have a real love-hate relationship with him. We love him when he says stuff we like, and we hate him when he says something we don't.
There's something seriously wrong with that position. This is that part where they're going to be willfully ignorant about his righteousness and establish their own. Say, I don't care what the book say. We're going to go ahead and let these women teach men. Go ahead.
For the Mashiach is the end of the law for righteousness to everyone that believes.
What was he doing? He was the sacrifice. He was the sacrifice to end all sacrifices. So if you're going by the law of sacrifices, then you can't fully accept Yahshua. There's a stumbling block right there. And for our people who held on to what they could do with their own hands, they had a problem with Yahshua being in this mix. What they didn't understand, what made it real easy for them to take that route was, at that point, they were still in the land, still had animals, could still do sacrifice. It had not occurred to them, no, what he's bringing, you're not going to have a temple or any animals to do any sacrifice. You don't understand what I'm bringing to you. I am giving this to you before I bring this phase of your punishment in. Because if you don't grasp this, you're going to die internally because you won't be able to do sacrifices for the next 3,000-4,000 years. This right here gonna hurt you for a while. Now imagine if we've been walking around for 2,000 years trying to do sacrifices, we'd be messed up. And if we couldn't do them, do you now feel unworthy because you ain't been able to do no sacrifice in 2,000 years? He was taking care of what was going to happen. They didn't understand that though. This is the problem about examining all your situations in the current moment. You got to look down the street. Go ahead.
For Moshe describes the righteousness which is of the law, that the man which does those things shall live by them. But the righteousness which is of faith speaks on this wise. Say not in your heart, who shall ascend into heaven? That is, to bring the Mashiach down from heaven. Or, who shall descend into the deep? That is, to bring up the Mashiach again from the dead. But what say that? The word is near you, even in your mouth and in your heart. That is, the word of faith, which we preach. That if you shall confess with your mouth the Adonai Yahshua, and shall believe in your heart that Elohim has raised him from the dead, you shall be saved. For with the heart man believes unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. For the scripture says, whosoever believes on him shall not be ashamed. For there is no difference between the Yehudi and the Greek. For the same Adonai over all is rich unto all that call upon him. For whosoever shall call upon the name of the Adonai shall be saved.
Now, and we know that many have taken this out of context. They do evil their whole life, get on their deathbed, say a few words, and say, well, is he in heaven now? Go ahead.
How then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed? And how shall they believe in him of whom they have not heard? And how shall they hear without a preacher? And how shall they preach except they be sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of them that preach the gospel of peace and bring glad tidings of good things. But they have not all obeyed the gospel. For Isaiah saith, Adonai, who has believed our report? So then faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of Elohim. But I say, have they not heard? Yes, verily, their sound went into all the earth, and their words unto the ends of the world. But I say, did not Israel know? First Moshe says, I'll provoke you to jealousy by them that are no people, and by a foolish nation I will anger you. But Esaias is very bold, and says, I was found of them that sought me not. I was made manifest unto them that asked not after me. But to Israel he says, all day long have I stretched forth my hands unto a disobedient and gainsaying people.
All the day long I have stretched forth my hands unto a disobedient and gainsaying people. That is a serious statement. Let's go to our James chapter 1. James chapter 1. And we're going to read verses 1 through 12.
Jacob, a servant of Elohim and of the Adonai Yahshua HaMashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greetings. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith works patience.
The trying of your faith works patience. In the beginning of this word, when I first started being in this word, I had zero patience. Whatever none is, I had less than none. But once you get tried, and Yahweh will bring some stuff to straight try you. And then sometimes he'll bring you something to let you see how much you've grown. You know, you look at, a situation, and you can look at somebody running off at the mouth, and folks will be like, why are you smiling? This person is disrespecting you. Say, yeah, I remember a time when this dude would already be dead. This is I'm in glee right now. I now, because of this situation, I have seen that Yahweh has worked forth some patience in my spirit. Because I would have been there and put this dude in a bag, yelling blue make green, zip it up. I see what my Elohim, sometimes he had to bring something to you for you to see yourself and see, man, there has been a change. Go ahead, bro.
But let patience have her perfect work, that you may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of Elohim, that gives to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavers is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Adonai. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
He's not unstable in some of his ways. He's unstable in all his ways. See? This is how you have to have control of your own spirit. But when you double-minded, that spirit is being led in too many different directions. And that is then making everything unstable. And once you see an unstable situation, it makes people apprehensive about dealing with things when you're dealing with a situation where the person has a double mind. Say one time, 1 minute, they about this. The next minute, they about that. I don't know if I want to get into that situation. I need to let them figure themselves out first. When they figure themselves out, then we can do some business. But I don't know about doing no business with this individual because they're here, there, and yonder. They're double-minded. I need them to figure out which mind they're going to follow. Go ahead.
Let the brother of low degree rejoice in that he is exalted, but the rich in that he is made low, because as the flower of the grass he shall pass away. For the sun is no sooner risen with a burning heat, but it withers the grass, and the flower thereof falls, and the grace of the fashion of it perishes. So shall the rich man fade away in his ways. Blessed is the man that endures temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Adonai has promised to them that love him.
Blessed is the man that endures temptation. For when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life. Go ahead.
You want to continue?
Yeah.
Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of Elohim.
Uh-huh.
For Elohim cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempts he any man. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed.
Every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust.
Say, Yahweh, why Yahweh gonna put this in front of me? He know what I like.
Your lust drew you right there. You ain't gonna blame Yahweh for that.
Why Yahweh give me eyes? He know what I like to look at.
Now that's Yahweh's fault. You don't think it had nothing to do with you at all? Yeah, right. Let's go to Colossians chapter 3. I remember brother tried to put a sister out here because she was well built. I said, bro, you gonna put her out here because she fine?
Man, I just can't look at her.
Bro, so you think that's her fault or yours? What I'm finna do is put you out of here. Is what I'm finna do. Don't come in here and say nothing to me like that no more.
I can't concentrate.
That's your problem, not ours.
Colossians chapter 3 and verse 1. If you then be risen with Yahshua, seek those things which are above, where Yahshua sits on the right hand of Elohim. Set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth, where you are dead and your life is hid with the Mashiach in Elohim. When Yahshua, who is our life, shall appear, then shall you also appear with him in glory. Mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth, fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affection, evil concupiscence, and covetousness, which is idolatry. For which things' sake the wrath of Elohim comes on the children of disobedience, in the which you also walked sometime when you lived in them. But now you also put off all these: anger, wrath, malice, blasphemy, filthy communication out of your mouth. Lie not one to another, seeing that you have put off the old man with his deeds, and have put on the new man.
And that old man will pop back up. You think you done got rid of him, and he in the backpack right there, you carrying around, and he'll pop his head out of there at any given time. He'll pop, oh, let me answer this. Shut up! He'll try to, look, I know the way to go. Shut up! Don't come, look, I don't need your help. Turn right here, Sock. No. Go ahead, bro.
Which is renewed in knowledge after the image of him that created him. Where there is neither Greek nor Yehudi, circumcision nor uncircumcision, barbarian, Scythian, bond nor free, but Yahshua is all and in all. Put on therefore as the elect of Elohim, holy and beloved, bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering.
See, because the trying of your faith works patience, and now you can have these things that you didn't have before. See, now you can have long-suffering. Now you can look at an individual who's trying to harm you and feel sorry for the individual. And folks like, how you feel sorry for him and he doing you wrong? I feel sorry for him because he don't understand what that's going to bring to him. Go ahead.
Forbearing one another and forgiving one another. If any man have a quarrel against any, even as Yahshua forgave you, so also do you. And above all these things, put on love, which is the bond of perfectness. And let the peace of Elohim rule in your hearts, to the which also you are called in one body, and be you thankful. Let the word of Yahshua dwell in you richly in all wisdom, teaching and admonishing one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing with grace in your hearts to the Adonai.
Let the word of the Mashiach dwell in you richly in all wisdom, teaching and admonishing one another. This is lightly reproving. This is helping one another in psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs, singing with grace in your hearts to the Adonai. So that means the very words that we speak ought to help uplift one another in situation and circumstances. So those songs are speaking to your spirit. But what if you listen to murder, death, kill all day? Or all you want to hear is thotty music? What does that do for your spirit? You listen to murder, death, kill all day, can't figure out why you stay angry. Because you listen to angry music all day. Your music is angry. Matter of fact, your receiver got mad at you when you turned it on. It was just angry. Everything about it was angry. Tupac and Biggie talked about death all the time. What happened to them? Go ahead, bro.
And whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Adonai Yahshua, giving thanks to Elohim and the Father by him.
All right, let's go to Luke chapter 11. See, what some people may look at as a lack of faith may be how others are helped building their faith through the words that they are speaking, through the songs that they are singing. Luke 11, and we're going to read verses 5 through 13.
And he said unto them, which of you shall have a friend, and shall go on to him at midnight, and say unto him, Friend, lend me 3 loaves. For a friend of mine in his journey is come to me, and I have nothing to set before him. And he from within shall answer and say, Trouble me not, the door is now shut, and my children are with me in bed. I cannot rise and give you. I say unto you, though he will not rise and give him, because he is his friend, yet because of his importunity, he will rise and give him as many as he needs.
Right. You know, when it says that we're supposed to be good to all men, but especially those of the household of faith. But we also have to be careful that we don't allow ourselves to get used by those that despitefully use anybody that they come in contact with. So there comes a situation, a time where you have to watch situations and watch how they get presented. Go ahead.
And I say unto you, ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asks receives, and he that seeks finds, and to him that knocks it shall be opened. If a son shall ask bread of any of you that is a father, will he give him a stone? Or if he ask a fish, will he for a fish give him a serpent? Or if he shall ask an egg, will he offer him a scorpion? If you then, being evil, know how to give good gifts unto your children, how much more shall your heavenly Father give the Holy Spirit to them that ask him?
Right. Let's go to our 2 Kings chapter 4. Man, we were kind of excited back there. Whatever that was, it was funny. 2 Kings chapter 4. And let's start that at verse 1.
Now there cried a certain woman of the wives of the sons of the prophets unto Elisha, saying, Your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know it that your servant did fear Yahweh, and the creditor is come to take unto him my 2 sons to be bondmen. And Elisha said unto her, what shall I do for you? Tell me, what have you in the house? And she said, your handmaid has not anything in the house save a pot of oil. Then he said, go, borrow you vessels abroad of all your neighbors, even empty vessels, borrow not a few. And when you are come in, you shall shut the door upon you and upon your sons, and shall pour out into all those vessels, and you shall set aside that which is full. So she went from him, and shut the door upon her and upon her sons, who brought the vessels to her, and she poured out. And it came to pass, when the vessels were full, that she said unto her son, bring me yet a vessel. And he said unto her, there's not a vessel more. And the oil stayed. Then she came and told the man of Elohim. And he said, go, sell the oil, and pay your debt, and live you and your children of the rest.
Now, you know you have to have enough faith to go and borrow vessels for oil that you don't have, right? And now you have to go out and verbally put yourself in a situation where people may ask you questions if it fails. Can I borrow a couple of your mason jars? You got a couple of them? All right, can you give me this big container that you got? What you doing? Why you need so many containers? I mean, I know you ain't got that much oil. You got to put yourself out there. Do you have enough faith to step out on something that has not fully presented itself yet? Go ahead.
My brother, but that's our problem as the children of Israel, that pride, because it's like, I'm going to come and ask you, but then I'm afraid because then you might tell some other people and everybody going to know.
Mm-hmm.
But me coming to you, and you might not have the resources, might know other people that can get me the help I need.
Right.
Now I'm mad with you, man. What you told everybody for, man?
Right. Hey, brother, you asked me, for some jobs. Oh, boy, who sit in the row behind us at church? He work at a jar company. The hell you asking me for? He throw away jars. We can go get 40 of them from his house right now.
I don't want him to know my business.
Yeah, but then he gonna know.
Right. So you gonna starve though, right? Okay. Right. Eat your pride for lunch. Go ahead.
And it fell on a day that Elisha passed to Shunem, where was a great woman, and she constrained him to eat bread. And so it was that as oft as he passed by, he turned thither to eat bread. And she said unto her husband, behold now, I perceive that this is an holy man of Elohim.
I perceive that this is a holy man. I'm watching how he operates. I perceive that this is a holy man. Go ahead.
Which passed by us continually. Let us make a little chamber, I pray you, unto the wall, and let us set for him there a bed, and a table, and a stool, and a candlestick. And it shall be, when he comes to us, that he shall turn in thither.
So she done made him a room. He done got a wing in the house. Because I perceive that he is a holy man. But for somebody to perceive that this is a holy man, then that means he carries himself in a certain way. See, there's some of us that the extent of our holiness is at 4759A Rockbridge Road. We look holy as long as we at 4759A, don't let us go to B, all right? A, Rockbridge Road. Catch us further down Rockbridge, and something else strange might be going on. What are you doing?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was far enough down.
What? Go ahead.
I mean, even in this day and age, you present that to a brother, hey, a holy man, yeah, I think you up to some hoish deeds.
You know?
Why you want him to stay here?
Right.
You looking at that brother funny? Huh? You looking at you? What? He looks pretty fit.
Right. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 11. And it fell on a day that he came thither, and he turned into the chamber and lay there. And he said to Gehazi his servant, call this Shunammite. And when he had called her, she stood before him.
Stop. She mentioned him. He got to do with him. They having this conversation like it's just him. This a dude with him. Go ahead.
And he said unto him, Say now unto her, Behold, you have been careful for us with all this care.
For us. But it was for him. But you know, the dude that with you too. But him too. Go ahead.
What is it to be done for you? Would you be spoken for to the king or to the captain of the host? And she answered, I dwell among mine own people. And he said, What then is it to be done for her? And Gehazi answered, Verily she has no child, and her husband is old. And he said, Call her. And when he had called her, she stood in the door. And he said, About this season, according to the time of life, you shall embrace a son. And she said, No, my master, you man of Elohim, do not lie unto your handmaid.
This means she has wanted this so long that she done stopped wanting it. She like, look, don't play with me. Don't play like that. You don't play with people like that. Don't do that. Don't do it. You're supposed to be a man of God. Don't do that. Don't play with my emotions. Don't do that. She next. Listen, no. I'm because you have been good unto the man of God. We'll go the opposite way. We'll want something and can't figure out why we ain't getting it. Because you're being nasty to the people that you probably should have been better to. Go ahead.
And the woman conceived and bare a son at that season that Elisha had said unto her, according to the time of life. And when the child was grown, it fell on a day that he went out to his father to the reapers. And he said unto his father, My head, my head. And he said to a lad, Carry him to his mother. And when he had taken him and brought him to his mother, he sat on her knees till noon, and then died. And she went up and laid him on the bed of the man of Elohim, and shut the door upon him, and went out.
Now, he got his own bed. She laid him on the bed of the man of Elohim. Go ahead.
And she called unto her husband, and said, Send me, I pray you, one of the young men, and one of the asses, that I may run to the man of Elohim, and come again. And he said, Wherefore will you go to him today? It is neither new moon nor Sabbath. And she said, It shall be well. Then she saddled an ass, and said to her servant, Drive, and go forward. Slack not your riding for me, except I bid you. So she went and came unto the man of Elohim to Mount Carmel. And it came to pass, when the man of Elohim saw her afar off, that he said to Gehazi his servant, Behold, yonder is that Shunammite. Run now, I pray you, to meet her, and say unto her, Is it well with you? Is it well with your husband? Is it well with the child? And she answered, It is well. And when she came to the man of Elohim to the hill, she caught him by the feet. But Gehazi came near to thrust her away.
Now, so she said, it was told, Gehazi, run to her and ask her. Run now, I pray you, verse 26, to meet her. Say unto her, Is it well with you? Is it well with your husband? Is it well with the child? She answered, It is well. Verse 27. And when she came to the man of Elohim to the hill, she caught him by the feet. I don't talk to you. No, I need to talk to him. That one right there. That's the one who prayed to give me this boy. I don't talk to you. Yeah, for you, yeah, it's well. I need to get to the top of that hill. You done ran down here, you ran, it's good exercise. I need to get to him. Go ahead.
You know, there's, when you look at this, my question is, so the husband sent the boy home, he just had a headache.
Mm-hmm.
He was well, sent him home, he died with his mother.
Uh-huh.
She locked him in the room, then she went out to her husband. And this whole thing, it seems like he don't even know what's going on.
Which one you talking about?
The husband.
Well, it already said in the beginning that it didn't say she was an older woman. It said he is an older man. But so she might be able to make this trip better than he can.
But even with the death of the son. Because he's asking her, why would you go to him today?
Right.
So it don't even seem like he know that the boy done passed away.
She taking care of her business. She taking care of her business. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Go ahead.
And the man of Elohim said, let her alone, for her soul is vexed within her. And Yahweh has hid it from me and has not told me.
Right. He said, no, there's something vexing her. And why Yahweh didn't show me this? She done came all this way. She done told you as well, because she didn't want to have that conversation with you. No, she needed to get to me. Go ahead.
Then she said, did I desire a son of my master? Did I not say, do not deceive me? Then he said to Gehazi, gird up your loins, and take my staff in your hand, and go your way. If you meet any man, salute him not. And if any salute you, answer him not again, and lay my staff upon the face of the child.
Right. So Gehazi can move faster than he can. Go. Go ahead.
And the mother of the child said, as Yahweh lives, and as your soul lives, I will not leave you. And he arose and followed her.
She was like, look, you can let Gehazi go wherever Gehazi going. But me and you, we connected at the hip, Jack. You understand? You the one prayed for me to get this boy. You coming back with me to come deal with this boy. Now you let him go ahead and run. We'll see him when we get there. Go ahead.
And Gehazi passed on before them, and laid the staff upon the face of the child. But there was neither voice nor hearing. Wherefore he went again to meet him, and told him, saying, the child is not awake.
So he done went there and came back. So you see, the woman wasn't interested in the fastest ambulance. She was interested in the best ambulance. See? Now, this ambulance can get there real quick, but it don't have the necessary tools. See? So it done went there and came back and met him. Look, it didn't nothing happen. She was like,
I know where I'm supposed to be.
Come on, we going together. Go ahead.
And when Elisha was come into the house, behold, the child was dead, and laid upon his bed. He went in therefore, and shut the door upon them two, and prayed unto Yahweh. And he went up, and lay upon the child, and put his mouth upon his mouth, and his eyes upon his eyes, and his hands upon his hands, and he stretched himself upon the child, and the flesh of the child waxed warm.
Now wait a minute, now if he's operating in the law, now he's laying on the dead body. And then how many people say, wait a minute, man, you put your lips on his lip? Wait a minute, I don't like the way this is happening. What kind of stuff you got going on here? I don't like the way this is looking. This is something, look at, man, I don't know what y'all, we don't play like that down here. We men's. I don't know what you're doing in there with that boy. And why you gotta close that door? hey, man.
Start looking at him, Gehazi.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, wait a minute. What's happening in there? What are you doing in there? Why you close that door? Why you going in there? And then you just go, and imagine, the door open halfway and you see something. Wait, wait a minute. I don't think that ain't what they meant by lay hands on him. I don't think this is it. But the lady, close the door, let him do what he do. Go ahead.
Then he returned and walked in the house to and fro, and went up and stretched himself upon him. And the child sneezed 7 times, and the child opened his eyes. And he called Gehazi and said, call this Shunammite. So he called her, and when she was come in unto him, he said, take up your son. Then she went in and fell at his feet and bowed herself to the ground and took up her son and went out. And Elisha came again to Gilgal.
All right, that's as far as I want to go right there. When you talk about this situation of faith, her having to make this trip, she knew exactly what she needed to do. She knew exactly who she needed to talk to about this situation. It was a thing upon her to make a place for the holy man of Elohim. She knew where the power was at when it came down to that situation. And that was the only individual that she wanted. She was not concerned about how fast Gehazi could get there. She wasn't concerned about any of that. She was concerned about the holy man, the man of Elohim getting there. That is what she was concerned about. And that was a serious testing of her faith, because she said right from the beginning, look, don't deceive me. Don't give me something. And she looked at it as deception later on. You gave me this thing and then it died. And he said, Yahweh has hid it from me. That was one of another interesting point in the whole situation, because you have a man of Elohim who this woman has done good things for him, and he wants to do good by the woman, but then when something happens to her child, Yahweh didn't show it to him. Because some action needed to be taken by her. If Yahweh showed him, then he goes and do all of this. But if it's trying her faith, she's got to make the journey not knowing what's going to happen. She's got to make the trip not knowing if he's going to be busy doing this or busy doing that. She's got to do that. He can't tell his servant. So Yahweh will hide things and hold it until the appropriate time. You see, this woman is vexed, and Yahweh has hid it from me. But he had to, for her to have the test that she was supposed to have. But let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to Psalms chapter 66.
Psalms chapter 66 and verse 1. Make a joyful noise unto Elohim, all you lands. Seek forth the honor of his name, make his praise glorious. Say unto Elohim, how terrible are you in your works. Through the greatness of your power shall your enemies submit themselves unto you. All the earth shall worship you, and shall sing unto you. They shall sing to your name.
They shall sing to your name, not to your title. They won't be singing to God. They won't be singing to the Most High. They're going to sing to Yahweh. All these folks walking around talking about hallelujah, saying his name, and most of them don't even know it. Go ahead.
Come and see the works of Elohim. He is terrible in his doing toward the children of men. He turned the sea into dry land. They went through the flood on foot. There did we rejoice in him. He rules by his power forever. His eyes behold the nations. Let not the rebellious exalt themselves. Oh, bless our Elohim, you people, and make the voice of his praise to be heard, which holds our soul in life and suffers not our feet to be moved. For you, O Elohim, has proved us. You have tried us as silver is tried.
For you, O Elohim, have proved us. You have tried us as silver is tried. How was silver tried? In the fire. Go ahead, bro.
You brought us into the net. You laid affliction upon our loins. You have caused men to ride over our heads, went through fire and through water, but you brought us out into a wealthy place. I'll go into your house with burnt offerings. I'll pay you my vows, which my lips have uttered, and my mouth has spoken when I was in trouble.
I will go into the house with burnt offerings. I will pay you my vows, which my lips have uttered, and my mouth has spoken when I was in trouble. Do you even remember what you said when you was in trouble? Go ahead.
I will offer unto you burnt sacrifices of fatlings with the incense of rams. I will offer bullocks with goats. Come and hear, all you that fear Elohim. I'll declare what he has done for my soul. I cried unto him with my mouth, and he was extolled with my tongue. If I regarded lawlessness in my heart, the Adonai will not hear me.
If I regard lawlessness in my heart, he will not hear me. Go ahead.
But verily Elohim has heard me. He has attended to the voice of my prayer. Blessed be Elohim, which has not turned away my prayer, nor his mercy from me.
And Yahshua, we will be able to endure the things that he brings upon us to build our faith for the things that we have coming upon us. Because just looking at some of the things that we see, and understand there's a whole lot of things that have not been revealed yet that are going to take place. But we know that the adversary, the devil, is hell-bent on killing us. And he is recruiting the powers that be to help him in his assault against the children of Israel. Because assaulting the children of Israel means assaulting the God of Israel. So if he can't get him, how about let's get some people that he says is the apple of his eye? So understand, we are being used as a pawn in a game between two God creatures, the adversary, the devil, and Yahweh himself. And we are the ones sitting in the middle. The adversary, the devil, is using his tools, and Yahweh is using his. So let us attempt to be spiritually prepared, because the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. We can't go and buy more and more artillery. You can't shoot the devil. He is using the nations as a joystick. You shoot what he's saying, he send 1,000 more. You shoot that 1,000, he send 10,000. We got to work with something better than what man's working with. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.